step on a scale. You see a number, and you think, that's my weight. Gravity's pulling me down. But pause for a moment. What are you actually feeling? You're not feeling a pull downward at all. You're feeling the ground pushing up on your feet. If the floor vanished, you wouldn't feel gravity. You'd feel nothing. You'd float. So where is this mysterious pull everyone talks about? And here's something even stranger. The moon has been falling toward the Earth for billions of years. Falling. Constantly. And yet it never gets closer. What kind of force makes things fall forever without hitting? That's the puzzle. And it's exactly the kind of puzzle Richard Feynman loved, because it tells you right away that common sense is lying to you. Subscribe and like for more videos that explain what's really happening beneath the surface, because gravity is far more interesting than the story you're taught. Let's start with the simple picture everyone learns. Newton tells us that gravity is a force. Massive objects pull on each other. The Earth pulls the apple down, the sun pulls the planets around, and the strength of this pull depends on mass and distance. And here's the thing. This picture works beautifully. It predicts eclipses, planetary motion, tides. It works so well that for centuries, nobody questioned it. But Newton himself was uneasy. He could calculate the force, but he didn't know what was doing the pulling. How does the Earth reach out through empty space and grab the moon? What's the mechanism? He had no answer. Then along comes a clue from Galileo. Drop two objects heavy and light, and they fall at the same rate. That's weird. If gravity were a pull, you'd expect heavier things to be pulled harder and fall faster. But they don't. In a vacuum, a hammer and a feather hit the ground together. That's not what a force usually does. Feynman loved this point. He'd say, this is not a small detail. This is the key. Gravity treats all objects the same, regardless of their mass or composition. That's a huge hint that gravity is not a normal force like magnetism or electricity. Now let's run a thought experiment. Imagine you're in an elevator floating in deep space, far from any stars or planets. The elevator is drifting. Inside, you float weightless. Now the elevator's engine turns on and accelerates upward. Suddenly, you're pressed against the floor. You feel weight. Drop a ball, and it falls to the floor exactly the way it would on Earth. Here's the question. How do you tell whether you're standing on Earth or accelerating through space? The answer is, you can't. The experience is identical. This idea that gravity and acceleration are indistinguishable is the crack in Newton's picture. Einstein took that crack and pried it open. Feynman would say, once you accept this, you're forced into a completely different way of thinking. Einstein's insight was radical but simple. Gravity isn't a force pulling objects down. Objects are already moving naturally. What gravity does is change what straight means. Think of space not as empty nothing, but as something real, with structure. Massive objects like the Earth distort that structure. They curve space and time. And objects moving through this curved space-time follow the straightest possible paths they can. From our perspective, those paths look like falling. The moon isn't being pulled toward the Earth. It's moving straight ahead in curved space-time. It keeps missing the Earth over and over again. That's an orbit. This explains why everything falls at the same rate. They're not responding to a force based on their mass. They're all following the same geometry. The geometry doesn't care what you're made of. Nature doesn't care about your intuition. And now go back to the scale. Why do you feel weight? Because the ground is preventing you from following your natural path. You want to fall freely through curved space-time. The floor gets in the way and pushes you upward. Weight is not gravity pulling you down. Weight is resistance to falling. Astronauts in orbit aren't beyond gravity. Gravity is very strong up there. They're weightless because they're falling freely, all the time, along with their spacecraft. This picture also explains why gravity feels so different from other forces. You can turn off a magnetic field. You can shield electric forces. You cannot shield gravity. That's because gravity isn't something added on top of motion. It's built into the structure of space and time itself. Feynman was very clear about something else. Don't demand comfort. This isn't a picture you can fully visualize. Your brain evolved to survive on the savannah, not to understand curved spacetime. If you try to force gravity into the mental model of ropes and pulls, you'll always be confused. And here's where humility comes in. Even Einstein's theory, as beautiful as it is, breaks down at the center of black holes, at the beginning of the universe. The equations give infinities, which is physics' way of saying, I don't know. Gravity is still not fully understood. We don't yet know how to combine it with quantum mechanics. Nature is doing something there that we haven't figured out. That's not a failure. That's how science works. You follow the evidence, even when it leads somewhere uncomfortable. So what does everyone get wrong about gravity? They think it's a pull. They think it's a force acting at a distance. It's not. It's geometry. It's motion through a curved universe. And once you see it that way, the universe becomes stranger, simpler, and far more beautiful than the story you started with. Feynman would tell you this. If you think you understand gravity because things fall down, you don't understand gravity at all. Understanding begins when you realize how wrong your intuition is and how little nature cares about it. And that's the real lesson. Gravity isn't mysterious because it's complicated. It's mysterious because reality is deeper than common sense. And we're lucky enough to live in a universe that lets us glimpse that depth, even if we can never fully picture it.